In quite a few positions, we reach a type of situation in which we have good control, nice piece deployment, and actually nice, good-looking pieces for attack. Unfortunately, what we have right now is not quite like that. It's white to play, and he's got 2 extra pawns, but some terribly backward placed pieces. He's got that queen on the f1 and a rook on d1 that just don't seem to be well placed there. As opposed to that, black has his own queen and the rook that are perfectly well positioned, and he's really creating certain threats like rook takes h3 that, because of the pin, make white look like he is having to defend it. My question to you is really, do you think white has to defend passively, or he probably has something else to counter black in this position? What's the best way to play here? Defend, stabilize, or maybe counter and play some forcing moves? What is your choice? And for sure, the most promising move is d6 here. It looks like initially we're losing the pawn on h3, and it's anything else but not safe. And yet we realize that in those positions, we don't care so much about a pawn or even 2. We care about who gets the initiative. After rook takes h and king to the g1, we realize that this pawn didn't matter anything at all. In reality, the only thing that matters is the fact that white's having a few threats, and now the combination really gets it started. Black makes a check. Simply, white continues queen f2. And then most people would immediately say, okay, there's rook h1, and then we lose the queen. Oh, let's drop the line. Don't. Keep going. See, there was a time when I was actually reading any kind of books and studying any kind of chess books, and there was a book that I came across, and it's a very interesting book actually. It was written by Grandmaster Edgar Mendes, and it was called How Did They Beat Bobby Fischer? It's amazing because it provided all the most interesting losses by the great champion. And in the end of that book, there were like a few tips, a few interesting suggestions what to do and what not to do when you play Bobby Fischer. Not that I was going to play Fischer, but I just decided, okay, let's have a look. Let's see what the author is suggesting. And one of the things that was written out there really struck me as very interesting. So he was saying, if you see a winning combination or a really strong move against Bobby, before you play it, make sure that you calculate one move further down the line. Or it was something similar. And that really struck me because when I remember in almost all the games that I have against masters, I always think that certain line is losing and certain line is winning. And then in the analysis I find out that it's not. And most times it's happening because I didn't go deep enough. I didn't really try to go beyond what I thought is conventionally good or not. And if we just go a little further down the line without stopping here, we see that white has this d7 move with the threat of d8 with the queen. Black can make a check, but then white's just escaping. And as a result of that, we see that when the black queen goes down to d8, if we continue a little further, we see that white has the brilliant rook d4 move. And that move is fantastic, not only because it stops any queen b6 move, so now black's queen cannot go anywhere, as it's basically tied down. But also in addition to that, white can play for b6, b7, and even consider moves like b8 or d8. So black's the queen up. Practically that queen cannot move, and therefore he's actually losing. The pawn goes there. Black obviously can't sacrifice because the other pawn will promote. He goes down with the king to defend it. But then after that move, we realize that all white has to do is a small prophylactic move, given that he has all the time that he needs. And then he makes the move of rook e4 check. It's incredible to see how sometimes a piece that like this rook could be even stronger than the queen, and it is. It is because that queen is so bad out there. It's tied down to the defense, and he can't even make moves like king takes d7 because the queen will be lost and white's a rook up. If the king goes down right now to f7, actually we see that there is rook b4, and when the black queen comes down to defenders, d8, So black queen takes, and then we have b8 with the queen promotion and a win. And even in case of king to the d6, there is this chance of playing rook b4 again, which leads to the same thing. It's amazing. So the whole idea about this position, and really about that solution behind it, is that you should always think in this: how do I get to create more problems? As long as your opponent's activity or a counter plan is not too damaging, or he hasn't got that many fast threats to make, think about this: what are my features? What are the advantages that I have at this point? And certainly a pass pawn like the one on d5 should not be ignored. It's d6 that helps white to find this beautiful and so excellent win. And the biggest concept, the biggest lesson of this game is go on further. Don't stop just because you don't like certain line. If you calculate 1 or 2 moves ahead, you may just find out some big things that change the whole game.